citizens of America and the world. The Ashin Show Decision Desk has determined that someone has won the U.S. presidency.
The people of this nation have spoken.
This is a major fraud in our nation.
They've delivered us a clear victory.
Frankly, we did win this election.
We've won with the most votes in the history of the nation.
We will win this, and as far as I'm concerned, we already have won.
What I must admit has surprised me.
So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court.
On Eagle's wings, we embark on the work that God and history have called upon us to do.
Congratulations, Joe Biden. You sure sound like you won. We wish you all the luck in the world as you begin your journey as the 46th President of the United States. Your thoughts?
And our grandmother, when she was alive, she yelled, "No, Joey, spread it."
Makes sense, Joe. Makes sense. Welcome to a Shin Show. How about that Joe Biden, huh? He's the president now. President-elect, anyway. Who would have thought that?
I can't believe I'm cheering for the second of the two old white men, but
it is what it is. It is what it is. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
You can make yourself feel better by cheering for the first woman in the White House.
That is nice. And I'll also cheer for the doctoral first lady.
Doctoral.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Doctoral, octoral. She's the first lady to have a full-time job in the history of ever.
Cool.
I don't think that's true. Didn't Michelle Obama have a full-time job as being...
I just saw a thing on Reddit that said Jill Biden is the first one. It's so hard to say. The first woman to have a full-time job.
I think Michelle Obama gave it up.
Yeah, I think they might mean actively has a full-time job as opposed to did have.
That's right, and I forgot. Caregiver to an Alzheimer's patient is a real job.
That's not fair.
No joke.
Have you guys heard that song people play? It's like, I don't know who it's by, but it's like, fuck Donald Trump. You know, it's like a rap song. Fuck Donald Trump. You heard that song?
No, I haven't heard that song.
Well, it tops the charts. It just tops the charts after the Biden election.
Well, I am familiar with a song by Ice Cube called Arrest the President. In fact, I played it last night. We had a couple of folks
It's from
over
2016.
Fuck Donald Trump?
Yeah.
I see.
Oh, it's YG. YG made that. Okay.
Well, and so...
You played Arrest the President by Ice...
Yes, by Ice Cube.
Iced Cube.
What's the difference between Ice Cube and Ice-T?
Dodecahedron.
Who are the differences?
Ice-T was...
a different person.
He's a different person. He acts more than he raps. And
is he the one on SVU?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's also the one who appeared in Rick and Morty.
Then who's Ice Cube?
Ice Cube was in NWA.
I thought those were the same fucking guy.
NWA is a group of guys.
Yeah,
it's Dr. Dre. Ice-T was in his own thing. He was
Eazy-E was in NWA.
It was Easy, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Yellow Man. Not Yellow Man.
Look,
DJ Yellow.
The point is you can't tell them apart because you're racist. I get it.
Maybe. And also I don't listen to rap.
Old Ice Cube is good. That's good rap. He was the one who wrote the lyrics for everyone in NWA. Ice Cube was the lyric guy. Dr. Dre was the beat guy.
Did you know Ice-T's in a metal band?
No.
Well, he is.
I had heard that, actually.
Yeah. But iced tea is only the first form. He turns into water tea.
He turns into an Arnold Palmer.
That's the equivalent of Super Saiyan 3 for iced tea is an Arnold Palmer. He anamorphs into a can of regular sized Arnold Palmer.
He's got many powers. But Ice Cube, Arrest the President, man, that's a great song. That came out about 3 years ago, actually.
Well, and I hope it comes true.
Yeah, well, here's the main line from it. Arrest the President. You got the evidence. Arrest the President. You got the evidence.
And so on and so forth.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. So the point is that Joe Biden won. He won by a narrow margin, a much more narrow margin than I could have predicted. Such states as Georgia, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Nevada, those proved key to his victory, along with, of course, Wisconsin and Michigan.
Don't forget Joe Maha.
Joe Maha,
Joe Maha. Bo Jiden.
I'd forgotten that indeed one of Nebraska's electoral college votes went to Joe Biden. Who'd have thought that?
There was a lot of talk in the Omaha subreddit over the past week about, God, I hope it doesn't come down to us.
It could have, though. It was a very close
come
race.
Down to somebody.
And it could have come down to your forced signature on the ballot that your sister made you send in, Nick.
I don't think it did, though.
It didn't, but if we lived in Georgia, maybe it would have.
Sure. Whatever. Look, the point is you did your bit. So you're a part of the victory, Nick.
Great. I feel so good.
Celebrate, old men. Come on.
Let's celebrate.
Medicate your mind. Come on.
Let's medicate.
Get some medication.
Dun, 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 dun. I'm excited about Joe Biden winning simply because it's a triumph of some kind of decency, I guess.
Yeah, except for 49.9% of America are still a bunch of fucking racists.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
am.
more than that, I promise you.
Well, especially in our neck of the woods.
But
Yeah.
here's what's going to happen. I've said this before. As soon as Joe Biden gets sworn in, he's going to drop dead, and then Kamala Harris is going to be the president, and
Madam President.
then we're all
Honestly-
going to jail.
Honestly, I think that's the best case scenario because there's no way Biden runs again in 4 years when he's 82 years old. So it would probably be better for the Democratic Party, actually, if Kamala
If
just
Kamala got it
snuck
halfway
in
through.
there. But has anyone heard of the new social media's Parler or Wimkin?
No.
Neither had I, but the Republicans are leaving Facebook, or at least
Oh, no.
threatening to leave Facebook in droves for Parler and Wimkin because they are alternative social media
Threatening
and
to leave
news sites.
Facebook?
Well, so on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, finally, good, go. But on the other
Yeah,
hand,
good.
it's
It's a
like, well,
boomer
what kind of
graveyard
shit?
anyway.
But what kind of shit are they going to start doing over there without some sort of mediating social presence? Are they really going to go off the rails once they're all just talking to each other?
It's so far off the rails now. All social media as is, when you subscribe to the pages or feeds tailored to
Tailored,
your
yeah.
interests, it becomes an echo chamber, is what it becomes.
Yeah.
No matter if you're talking about Facebook, Twitter. It's hilarious. They're threatening to leave Facebook. Oh no. Don't leave the Florida of social medias. No one goes there anyway.
They're forming their own new Florida, I think. I'm overwhelmed by how many people are like, oh, if you want real news and real conversations, you have to go here. It's like all the
Okay,
crazy people are
great.
doing it. So no.
Go there. It's all bullshit. They're all spoon feeding you bullshit anyway.
That's no joke.
I actually found this really cool video.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities.
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about the trouble and trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these things that simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
And so there you have it.
That's like a year and a half old, isn't it?
I don't know. It's the first time I've ever seen it.
Yeah, that happened like a year and a half ago.
What happened?
What happened is that the owners of Sinclair Broadcasting, which are about 59 TV stations, made their anchors read that basically at the same time. So it was really a paean to the power of broadcast media and not necessarily a slam on social media that has any real impact. All right,
no, I'm not saying it's a slam on social media. I'm saying there is a line of drivel that all news feeds you. There's a script. No matter what city you live in, there's one group of people who control what you consume from 5 to 9.
It's called the owners of the broadcast media.
But my point is that no matter where you get your news from, whether it's from an echo chamber on a goddamn social media site or from the TV, it's baby food spoon-fed into your mouth. No matter what it is, not the whole truth.
Well, how could it be? Now, I'm a former journalist, as you know, so I have some expertise on this subject. And what I will tell you is that there is no such thing as unbiased information. Everybody has a slant or a viewpoint. However, there is a good faith and ethical effort to tell what appears to be reality. Now, not everybody knows what reality is because it's ever shifting. It's very difficult to pin down, and sometimes people lie to you. But journalists are people that in general are in good faith trying to do the right thing. The problem is that because news is a for-profit business, that you're always going to be the servant of money. It can't be helped. And that's why I run my own podcast to say whatever the fuck I want without somebody telling me I can't say that. Even though I don't make any...
You can't say that.
God damn it. Ah, shit. I chose the wrong media after all.
John Oliver did a segment on Sinclair Group 3 years ago. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and so that, I guess, is probably 3 years old, that video.
regardless of how old this video is, that was certainly not the last time they pulled some shit like that.
Certainly.
Certainly not the first time.
No.
You get what I'm saying here? I'm trying to establish a pattern of bullshittery that the American people get.
It's been established.
And that's the problem. That's why the extremists keep perpetuating their extremes, because they're valid. When they say that you're only being fed one line of whatever from some shadowy cabal or from some evil corporation, they're not wrong. But it doesn't mean that what they're...
Yeah, nobody has the definitive answer. That's a good bullshit detector right there. If everyone's lying to you, but this one person has the truth, they know the truth, just them, only them, and they're still alive, not suicided.
Although the Church of Universal Energy in the Infinite Multiverse does have the truth. So if
Look,
you are
there's
seeking
exceptions
the
to
truth...
every rule.
And the Church of Universal Energy in the Infinite Multiverse is, of course, the exception to that rule. Just a quick reminder, give us all your fucking money.
Yes, all ye who seek truth, give us your money and we will give it to you.
Sure, as well as anybody else.
Whatever truth you want, buddy.
You
I'll tell
bet.
you all day long. It's giving
Absolutely.
Sweet, sweet cash.
Oh, man. So anyway, though, your point is valid, Nick, in that our system of information is totally corrupted right now. If you actually want to find out what's going on, it's very difficult. You have to show up places. You have to get information on your own. You have to pay attention to the news releases and call people. In other words, you have to do the work of a journalist.
Yourself.
Exactly. And most people
For
aren't
free.
equipped to do that. Yeah, do that for yourself for free, which is a pain in the ass. People don't have time for it. And so we get the information that we're willing to pay for, generally speaking. And so we don't get very good information as a rule.
So I think the solution to that is just to stop watching and listening. Look, it doesn't, your day-to-day life is going to be how it is, whether you're accepting the shit they're spoon-feeding you or not. It's better just to take yourself out of the race, I think.
Yeah, it's either you take yourself out completely or you try and ingest everything.
Fuck that.
Well, see, my approach is to do exactly that. In order to have some sort of sense of what is going on, I look at many different sources from a lot of different places. And that's how I know, for example, that Carl Lentz, megachurch pastor for Hillsong on the East Coast, came all the way from Australia to start a brand new megachurch on the East Coast. Very successful. Ministered to Justin Bieber, Kevin Durant, among many other stars. He's hot, he's sexy, and he fucked someone who wasn't his wife, and so now he's fired.
It's not easy being famous, wealthy, or successful, and it's even harder to be all three. When you're on top, everyone around you is constantly looking for ways to bring you down. Whether they succeed or you just fuck your shit up all by yourself doesn't matter. Not when you have access to the QUIM Rehabilitation Center for Wayward Millionaires. No matter what mode of transportation you use to arrive at rock bottom, we're the only ones who have what it takes to get you out and keep you out. Once you arrive at our facility, the staff will show you to your personal rehab suite, fully stocked with a minibar and waited on by the nation's finest drug butlers. While you kick back and do whatever you want, our expert PR team will begin the process of rehabilitating your image. This is done mainly through fake interviews and doctored photos, but the real magic takes place during the sessions you'll be having with your appointed church image rehab counselor, who will feed you the perfect lines tailored to your specific situation for you to recite at press conferences. So don't waste another minute of your ruined life on anything else and get on down here. The Church of Universal Energy and the Infinite Multiverse Rehabilitation Center for Wayward Millionaires. If you're wondering about the price, you can't afford it.
You're fired.
Sadness.
Is he
Sadness
fired
ensued.
by his wife, or is he fired from the organization, or both?
At this point, it's just fired from the organization. It's not
Yeah, his
fired.
wife is his property,
Yeah.
obviously, as
Take the money and run,
as
lady.
all megachurch pastors believe. So that's
Right.
that's her lot.
That won't be a problem then. So it is interesting, though. How could you set yourself up as some kind of celebrity pastor and not expect to have some kind of moral shortcoming? How?
Yeah, it's kind of like how just by virtue of even attempting to be that person, that makes you a slimy person. If your goal in life is to become the pastor of a megachurch, you're going to hell. If hell exists, you're going there. Trust. Trust and believe, because
Yeah.
your true intentions aren't for the Lord Jesus. And if they are, it's like some sort of twisted abomination, mockery, mental gymnastics, roundabout, butt fuckery way to preach the world of God.
Amen.
That being said, I'm holding a sermon this Sunday afternoon. Please tell as many people as you can. I'm trying to start my own giga church.
Right. And of course, the hat will be passed.
The hat will be passed, and
Yeah.
you will be strictly flagellated if you do not.
With the hat.
Ouch. You don't want to be beat over the head and shoulders with a hat that has a bunch of change in it. That'll leave a serious welt.
You also don't want to mistake it for your shitting hat.
The shitting hat
Do
I
not
wear
shit in
during
this
the
hat.
sermon.
Okay, good.
Well, doesn't that make it your sermon hat?
The entire sermon. Well,
It's a multi-purpose hat.
yeah, I wear many hats, and they're all one hat. The one hat wears many hats. It's a very strained sermon.
Now
and
you're-
on the seventh day, the Lord said, "Let there be toilets," or whatever it is. You know?
Sure. I notice that you're wearing a hat right now, so I assume this is your podcasting hat, or is this just another hat that your hat wears?
Is it like a Broncos thing today? Is that why all three of you are wearing Broncos shit?
No, we're not all three wearing Bronco shit. I'm wearing Bronco shit just because it was the most convenient shirt to grab out of my closet.
Yeah, I'm just wearing this hat because I wear this hat.
Okay. Sorry, Elsie. I lumped you in because your color blouse is the same as Dad's shirt.
No, it's not.
I am wearing blue, and I do love the Broncos, but I just wear it because it's comfortable.
And it's not the same color.
Okay, whatever.
It's blue. Jesus, everybody get off her dick, man.
No, it's not her dick.
It's blue.
I don't
and guess
know.
what? It actually was Bronco Sunday or whatever, but no, that's not why we're wearing it.
Yeah, but you had no way of knowing that. You didn't know it was Bronco
I
Sunday.
asked. That's why I asked the question.
Sarah, never ask us questions ever again. What the fuck were you
Yes,
thinking?
Jesus.
But seriously, the point of the discussion about Carl Lentz is simply that, good grief, I always joke about running a cult and the Church of Universal Energy and the infinite multiverse, but it seems like 90% of these guys who are trying to help someone or say they're trying to help someone are really just trying to fuck someone.
Wait,
Yeah.
if it's a
We're all
joke,
trying to fuck somebody.
Right. If it's a joke, why'd you take all my money?
Well, because that's what's required under law. We're married.
And it's also, yeah, these people are voting with their wallets. They're paying him. It's working. God must want him to do that, or else God wouldn't allow him to continue to make such exorbitant amount of monies off that megachurch, right? He is the chosen one until God struck him down with extramarital sex.
And so he is therefore no longer chosen,
He is no longer chosen.
at least not for now. So it's been a weird week of news. Outside of Biden's election, it's just been a weird week of news. Okay, so that I thought was within the realm of weird news. Justin Bieber's former pastor, a guy that apparently is buddies with Kevin Durant, a bunch of other people, for him to go down in flames. That's interesting. And then Denmark is vowing to kill about 17 million mink, their entire mink population, because COVID-19 got amongst the mink. And so they're going to have to kill all 17 million of these mink in order.
They
yeah.
don't have to, but they're going to. So
No.
good for Denmark.
I also just saw an article last night that confirmed that COVID mutated. There's new mutated strains amongst those mink.
Yeah, that's why they're killing them, is because they don't want the mutation to.
I thought
Get
they
out.
wanted to kill them before it mutated. They wanted to kill it so it wouldn't mutate. And now it's like, oops, too late. They already did.
No, that's not true. In fact, they knew that the virus had mutated inside the mink, but what they didn't want to have happen was to have that mutated COVID-19 get then passed into the human population. And so in order to make sure that it didn't get passed into the human population, they're going to kill 17 million of them, all of them. And that's 1% of Denmark's gross domestic product.
Hey folks, sometimes you have to cull your entire mink population due to an outbreak of COVID-19. You could be looking at slaying up to 15 million mink or more, and that's a lot of anything to liquidate. Sure, you want these mink's eradication to be as humane and painless as possible, which is why you're going to want our brand new Shinsho mink smashing mallets and accompanying mink stomping cleats. These mallets feature a large wooden head and rubberized grip to make every swing count. Bam! That's as many as 3 dead mink. Then stomp away as you keep on swinging, racking up as many as 100 dead mink a minute. Now that's top quality rodent smashing and stomping gear. So when it's time to smash those adorable little mink to 1,000 bloody chunks in the name of public health, ask for them by name and accept no substitutes. The new Shinsho mink mallets and accompanying mink stomping cleats. Brutalizing tiny mammals into paste has never been so effective or so much fun.
So there's going to be a lot of mink fur coming to market, which I wanted to run this by. I ran it by Elsie. She kind of poo-pooed it, but I'm thinking maybe it would be a good idea if we bought, I don't know, about 10,000 mink pelts. They've got to be cheap, these COVID-19 mink pelts, right? I mean, they can't be very expensive. We can have them made into a Shinsho genuine COVID-19 mink muffs. perfect for cold weather locations, and cheap. Finally, the luxury of mink can be yours for your hands in cold situations for a low price. I don't know, $200-300. Surely,
You know, I feel like if we buy 17 million mink pelts, I think we can afford to spring for the coats. Why are we just doing
I used
muffs?
to have a mink coat.
Yeah, let's do some mink fucking coats, bro.
But muffs are
Mutated
affordable for
COVID
the poor
coat.
people. And they have cold hands too.
that is why.
And it's fun to say mink muff, is it not?
It is. Why not both? Oh, here's what we do. We do mink coat, mink mittens, mink hat, and mink boots, and mink codpiece.
Mink shitting hats.
Mink shitting hats. And mink
When the
diapers.
toilet paper shortage happens again, you're going to want to wipe your ass with that mink.
It's true. There's nothing more luxurious than cleaning one's bottom with genuine mink. Don't you agree?
Well,
That's the real hot take.
I wouldn't
is
know.
Fucking saving those mink pelts for 2-time use toilet paper.
no, it's infinite use.
Yeah, you're right.
The brown just blends right in. No one would ever know. I mean, you'll feel it, but
Fair.
it'll be a little crusty, but it's fine.
No, you just wash it off between uses. But that's not the only thing that it could potentially be good for. I mean, you could also use it for example, bed sheets. Just so many uses for this mink. But I don't think that we have to buy all 17 million mink. I think probably just 10,000 pelts to start with as a starter purchase.
A starter pack?
Yeah, a 10,000 pelt mink starter pack.
Yeah, well, we'll get the 10,000 pelts. We'll beat them like rugs. Just beat the COVID out of them. Make some styling, some ballin' ass gear. It'll be our the Shinsho spring mink
Collection.
COVID collection catalog.
We're going to need some models. Send in your resumes.
Ooh, and who's going to be judging those models? I suppose you, Sarah Shin?
Well, of course, I am the front line of model judging. However, we'll put it up on our website and let the voters take a whack at them.
That sounds fair. So if you want to be a model of genuine COVID mink and mink accessories from a Shinsho, just let us know at ashinshow@gmail.com. We're really going to look forward to having you model our COVID-infested mink-related paraphernalia, products, and clothing when that all comes together for us over the next couple of months. But it has been, I'm telling you, that's not the weirdest fucking thing that happened this week. I don't know if this is the weirdest thing. It was the most horrifying thing is, yes, Florida man struck again in Florida. So allegedly, this Florida gentleman who is married, who's got a young kid at home and a pregnant wife, wakes up in the middle of the night and hears a rustling. Here's rustling. He thinks he hears an intruder. Now, he assumes his wife is in his bed next to him. Sensible assumption. I mean, I wouldn't look, obviously. Obviously, I'd just go ahead and grab my gun. He had one or two laying around, one in the chamber, naturally.
Well, because, every night before bed, he would just kind of fondle it with his tongue and then say, maybe, but no.
One in the chamber, 32 in the clip. Motherfuckers better strip. That's a song about robbery.
Well, this wasn't a robbery, as it turns out. Turns out it was just his wife getting up to get a stretch or go to the bathroom or whatever. So he shot her in the head.
Right in the head, huh?
Allegedly.
Well, when you want to shoot and kill a person, that's a pretty good place to hit him.
It was my understanding that he just fired in the dark. Didn't know, didn't see. Kind of did the Heisman pose and put one hand over his eyes and looked away from where he was pointing the gun and went eek, and then just shot into the darkness and domed his wife.
Sure, that could have happened as well. Now, he did tell...
Idiot.
Yeah, what an idiot. Or what a murderer. One of the two. He told the sheriff, hey, it was all an accident. The sheriff said, well, it could be an accident, or...
It could be on purpose.
We're going to go ahead and investigate.
We're going to get the forensic team in here, bud. Okay, why don't you just have a seat? I'll put these nice shiny bracelets on you and we'll get back to you in a few years.
I don't believe he was arrested.
The sheriff came over. Here's what happened. He executed his wife in the darkness. The intentions or motives therein are unclear, but he calls the cops. The sheriff comes over and he says, yeah, it looks like you shot your wife. What happened? And he's like, well, it was an accident. And the sheriff's like, all right. And then he just grabbed the dead wife's ankle and just walked out the door, dragging her fucking corpse.
Cash for me.
He's like, I got a number to call.
I'm not sure it went down quite that way. Let me just say that the sheriff was rather circumspect in his comments. So he didn't exactly exonerate this guy. He simply said, hey, the guy said it was an accident. We'll look into it.
Okay, bud.
Yeah, that seems sus.
Everything checks out here.
Right. You're a man. Your property got up in the middle of the night. You shot your property.
And you didn't know. You didn't give your property permission, so how were you supposed to know that she just all of a sudden got a mind of her own and decided to wander the halls at any hour of the night?
Without a hall pass.
Why, I thought it was an intruder. It was absolutely preposterous.
A perfectly natural reaction, obviously, is to grab your piece and start fucking busting.
Just bust.
Yeah, don't
you
look.
start busting.
Gross.
Hello and welcome to Gun Safety with Lazarus Crabberton. In this video, we will quickly go over a few tips and tricks that will come in handy when safely handling a firearm in your home. While firearms are the single most effective American home security measure, they are dangerous and should be respected at all times. Here are 3 guidelines you should always follow in regards to guns in your house. Tip number 1. Ensure all guns in your house are fully loaded, one in the chamber with the safety off, before you go to sleep. This ensures that should a security issue arise, you can unleash a storm of hot lead at a moment's notice. Tip number 2. Keep any firearm you own as close as possible at all times, especially in your own home. The last thing you want is to be caught unawares just because you live there. In addition to the firearms on your person at all times, for maximum safety, we recommend you keep a separate loaded firearm in every room of your house. Tip number 3. If you think, even for 1 millisecond, that there may be something amiss in your home, the safest course of action for you is to grab the nearest weapon and just start busting. This goes double for any noises or movement detected during the night, especially if you've just woken up. Verifying identities, even those of people who live in the house with you, takes up valuable time you should be using to bust. If you really care about the safety of yourself and others around you, you'll just wake up and start busting. Any and all questions and concerns can be fielded after you've emptied a few clips into the darkness. This has been Gun Safety with Lazarus Crabberton.
Well, anyway,
Make you feel like a man.
A real
Have
man.
the power of life and death in your hands. Make you feel like a big, strong man, you know?
Yeah.
Where is this guy living that his first thought would be, there's definitely an intruder? If we heard something in the house in the middle of the night, we'd be most likely to look for normal reasons why that noise would be happening, not, oh my God, they're after us.
Yeah, but you don't know what it's like for a man to hold that cold steel in his palm of his hand, take someone else's life, and then you're a strong man now, real masculine guy's guy. Make you want to just go grab a beer at the bar, go down to the bathhouse and wrestle with your buds.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just wrestling.
Right.
Just wrestling. It's sweaty in there. Makes it fun.
You bet. Just put the oil on and wrestle up. Am I right?
Yeah, oil up, grease up, and get in that sauna. It's so steamy. It's hard to tell where your body ends and your buddy's begins, you know?
I sure do.
And as you're sitting there, putting your buddy in a figure 4 leg lock, your testicles just gently caressing the back of his neck, you say, I killed my wife tonight.
Because you're a big man.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so we'll see what happens with that particular case. In the meantime, however, it's not the only piece of weird news. This isn't really weird news, though. This is just kind of sad news. And the sad news is that because Johnny Depp lost his libel case, they axed him from Fantastic Beasts 3.
I've been seeing nothing but memes and memes and memes on the internet about Johnny Depp. Justice for Johnny Depp. And yet Amber Heard is still in Aquaman.
Yeah, fuck her.
Now, are we really so sure that we have the full details on this situation? Do we really trust Donnie Depp's side of the story or Johnny Depp's, either one?
So I have read into this because I was very against domestic violence, of course.
But very pro Johnny Depp.
Yeah, so I'm like, I got to get to the bottom of this. And of course, there's always he said, she said, this and that. But all of their mutual friends and things all said that she's actually very controlling and abusive towards him. And she's got a history of being a fucking bitch. And every single ex-wife, ex-girlfriend of Johnny Depp's was like, yeah, no, he would bend over backwards for the people he loves. That's just not who he is. So, yeah, she's the bastard saying that he's the asshole.
All these stories, these second, third-hand stories. This is another classic example of nobody was there and we don't know what happened. But I am willing to bet that Amber Heard's still a cunt.
Yes. Same.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. But why? I mean, I know, Elsie,
You know what? I don't know. I just got something in my gut tells me she's a cunt. I don't know what it is. I just got a feeling that old Johnny Depp's right.
Maybe misogyny?
Yeah.
Is it misogyny if it's true, though?
No.
What if it's true?
Well, but is that your gut feeling? Is that gut feeling due to misogynistic impulses?
I mean,
or is she actually a cunt?
If she is actually a cunt, what does it matter? If your gut feeling is that she is a cunt and then she is a cunt, then why does it matter?
It only matters if it then gets applied to
I don't think that every woman is a
non-cunts.
cunt.
Thank you.
Let me rephrase
I was
that.
glad he didn't think I'm a
Every
cunt.
woman and every man are cunts and bastards, respectively, until proven otherwise, in my eyes. Is that fair? That seems equal. That doesn't seem misogynistic.
Bastard doesn't seem quite as bad as cunt. I'm going to say we have to come up with more equal phraseology. But yeah, I'm down.
What about both men and women are cunts until proven otherwise?
Yeah, actually, yeah. They're both cunts until proven otherwise.
In the Australian sense of the word.
In every sense of the word. Doesn't have to be Australian. But I really think the evidence points towards Johnny Depp being the innocent man here.
Well, I too read into it a little bit, and like Elsie said, I think she was really controlling, but
Didn't she bite his finger off?
no, she didn't bite.
Not off, but like she bit him very badly.
Possibly.
Injured his hand. I remember there was a thing, he was playing Captain Jack Sparrow in a cancer ward for children because he does that.
Yep.
Which is pretty not cunty to me.
Right.
And he had an injury on his hand. Some kid was like, what happened to your hand? And, he just made up some pirate shit. But people were like, nah, dude, that was when Amber Heard nearly bit 2 of his fucking fingers off in a fight they were having. They had all this corroborating evidence that I'm too lazy to find.
But basically, yeah, she's violent and abusive towards him.
So what do we do about it?
So leave her.
He did. He did leave her. Or she
And then
left
she
him.
besmirched him.
Yeah,
and
that's
she went and
bullshit.
told everyone that he was the one abusing her.
Right.
Like a cunt.
Right?
Well, that's what we think happened based on all the information that we've seen. As you pointed out yourself, Nick, we don't actually know. But
You don't know.
I do think it's fair for the 4 of us to pass judgment in this matter based on what you've shared with me and our own gut feelings.
A shin show for Johnny Depp.
So that's your vote. Sarah, your vote, Johnny Depp or Amber Heard.
Between the two of them, Johnny Depp for sure.
Okay, and you, Nicholas?
What?
Would you
Johnny
vote?
Depp or Amber Heard?
I thought I made that very clear in my whole tirade there. That
Your father's formalizing a vote.
I am.
Yeah, Johnny Depp.
And I also am going to...
You know what? Actually, no. Just because you're doing this whole song and dance, I'm going for
Don't do
Amber
it.
Heard.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Damn it.
No.
Yes. Amber Heard all the way. Fuck Johnny Depp. Fuck him in his stupid fucking Grindelwald face.
Let's kick Nick out of the show. I can't talk to Nick ever again now.
Fuck him and his weird white hair, one eye not the same color as the other one, fucking looking ass in Grindelwald 3.
He didn't make that character. He's not the
Harry
costume
Potter
director.
3, Grindelwald fucks Dumbledore. Had a very intense and sexual relationship.
And there was much rejoicing.
A lot of acrobatic stuff.
And there was much magical filming. You know those paintings that move? Yeah. They had one of those commissioned.
Right. Almost ended up on a wizard card. Luckily for the kids, it didn't make it into print. But in any event...
Well, not for the kids' version. They have adult wizard poker cards, of course.
Of course. Of course.
And
they
the
do.
Ace of Spades is a portrait of Grindelwald fucking Albus Dumbledore in his bearded, old, wrinkly face. Yeah.
Unsubscribe.
Straight flush. You hate to see it.
Oh, God almighty. So we do think that Johnny Depp, collectively, we find him to be innocent. And I think that that's fair. So Johnny
That's
Depp...
all that matters.
It
that
is.
we find him to be innocent.
Precisely. So I'd like to say to Johnny Depp right now on behalf of a Shin Show, listen, man, we've got your back on this. Not in any way that we could contribute to your legal fund or anything like that, but in a way that really is supportive and says to you, we really want you to continue to your career, Johnny. Don't let Amber get you down, okay?
And if you want to be on the show, that's cool. We support you that way. We'll help get you popular again.
That's true. We could put our massive media influence behind Johnny Depp and rehabilitate his image. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to rehabilitate his image, all right. Yeah. What cancer ward do you go to, Dad?
I used to go to hospice. I used to go visit at hospice. I'll go do it again after COVID. I don't want to kill people.
Hospice, man. Ugh.
What do you mean, huh?
What a strange place.
Well, have you been?
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
For
you
whom?
walk in, feels like you just feel it in the air.
It's kind of
the death.
damp.
Yeah.
damp and papery at the same time.
I don't know. I didn't feel like that. I volunteered at a hospice for a couple of years. I liked it. I'd like to do it again once COVID is over. I didn't feel any kind of oppressiveness or, yeah, people are going to die in there, but people are going to die on the street. People are going to die everywhere. At least
Yeah, but they are dying, like right now, right around you. Many people are in the process, the slow and agonizing process of dying feet away from you at any given time in that place.
Yeah, so what?
So you can feel it. I can just feel it in the air.
Yeah, I never felt it like that. I was never affected by that in that way. I just passed out the cold drinks and said nice
And you're
things.
kind of like the guy from Holy Grail who's singing Bring Out Your Dead.
I'm not dead yet.
I think I just figured it out. I think your dad finally had a captive audience that couldn't run away.
They could only ring the bell like the uncle in Breaking Bad. Ding, 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 ding. And you're like, hey, buddy, no one's coming. So I just got about another 2 hours of material here.
Dude, have you watched Better Call Saul?
No.
It shows Salamanca's origin story. It's really good. You should definitely watch that.
Hector Salamanca, that was his name.
That was his name.
Right?
Yeah.
I just saw a GIF on Reddit. We've all seen all the Breaking Bad, right?
Of course.
You remember at the very, very end when Jesse finally gets freed from the Nazis and he's just in that El Camino, just like crying as he's driving away?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like a GIF of that, and it was like America after Joe Biden won the election.
No doubt, dude.
Way to tie it back to Uncle Joe. Thank you. Actually, it's not Uncle Joe, it's Grandpa Joe. I said that last night. Uncle Joe is Joe Stalin. Grandpa Joe is our kindly friend and elder Joe Biden.
It's Uncle Joe, though. It always has been.
And Grandpa Joe is that piece of shit from Willy Wonka and the Charlie Chocolate Factory.
That's true.
Wait, Charlie Chocolate
Yeah.
Charlie Chocolate and the Wonka Willy.
Factory. Either way, Grandpa Joe, the one who went to the fucking factory with him, piece of shit. Fuck that guy.
Well, there's nothing wrong with Grandpa Joe just because he...
What? Do you need me to break down for you why that guy is a huge piece of shit?
I do want to hear
There's
this,
a
yeah.
whole subreddit called Grandpa Joe Hate.
Okay.
You think I'm fucking kidding? Look,
No, I
this
don't.
guy is just sitting in a bed for how long is it? 30 years? While his daughter and her husband, they are poor as fuck, scraping together what little they can, breaking their backs every day to provide for these 4 geriatric useless fucks. All of a sudden, Charlie comes home with a golden ticket. Now Grandpa Joe just gets up and starts dancing. Look, he's a lazy asshole. He just mooched his children into crippling poverty for nothing. And then all of a sudden, once a tour of the chocolate factory comes around, it's all, yeah, let's get up and dance. Come on, Charlie.
That's
He's a
true.
piece of shit.
Fuck you, Joe.
Fuck Grandpa Joe. Worst character, possibly worse than Palpatine.
And wasn't it Joe's idea to drink the fizzy pop, too?
Yes.
God, what
Yes,
a fucking
dude.
dick.
Time and time again, it's almost like Grandpa Joe is an allegory for the devil, if you think about it, in that book.
Nope, that's a reach. At worst, he's
Darth
base.
Vader.
No, he's the base sloth of humanity.
He's
our
Donald
base
Trump.
nature.
No, he's not Donald Trump. He's not the base sloth of humanity. He's just an old fuck who's a character in this book by Roald Dahl who is being fantastical and farcical. He's not hateful. Don't hate on Uncle Joe. Love Uncle Joe. Isn't Uncle Joe
It's
the
Grandpa
guy?
Joe. In
Yeah,
the book.
and he's done nothing but bring trouble and destruction upon his
He's a
family.
piece of shit. Plain and simple. Actions speak louder than Roald Dahl's own words, okay? I think I would know a little bit better than Roald Dahl's dead ass or whatever the fuck.
You're probably
so
right.
yeah, Alex Trebek died.
Speaking of dead people, this just in, Alex Trebek, newly dead. Sorry that you are both dead and Canadian. Alex Trebek will miss you, of course, I guess. I don't know. I don't understand all of the Alex Trebek love. He was a game show host. Good for him.
And I was never particularly fond of him either.
I think he's a bit of a dick, actually.
What do you mean?
He tends to mock the contestants a bit in ways that I find unseemly and
Wasn't
unnecessary.
he the guy that would kiss your wife right on the fucking mouth right in front of you every time, without exception?
No.
That was Uncle Joe.
No, nor was it Uncle Joe. That was Richard Dawson that would do that, who was also on Hogan's Heroes as the lovable Newkirk. But yeah, Richard Dawson used to kiss the ladies right on the cheek, is what he would do. And he
I
was
saw some tongue a couple of times.
okay.
He'd
well,
lick some of that makeup off.
Right on. Anyway, that was on Family Feud in any event. And of course, everyone knows that Alex Trebek was the host of Jeopardy. I was going to try and turn that into a question because Jeopardy is a stupid fucking game show where you got to turn everything into a motherfucking question. It's a real pain in the ass. It's like trivia with extra steps. You know what I'm talking
What's
about?
the history on that?
That's just a game show that was originally on in the 50s, and then it fell to Alex Trebek whenever he started doing his thing in the 90s, I guess.
He had cancer for a long time. I mean, I assume that that's why he actually died.
Yes.
No, he died after Joe Biden was elected. That was what kept him hanging on. One would only have hoped that Ruth Bader Ginsburg
He was Canadian.
would have had the exact same fortitude as Alex Trebek.
He lived in Canada.
Yeah.
So why the fuck would Joe Biden matter to him?
Oh, Sarah. Don't you know the secret cabal behind Joe Biden is Canada?
Was led by Alex Trebek?
And other Canadians, including but not limited to him of the dummy thick haunches, Justin Trudeau.
I'm still chewing on that little phraseology there.
I like that. That should be his official state title.
Why don't you tweet him?
I will. Justin, we've got a new title for you. He of the dummy thick haunches.
Can we pass that in your parliament or whatever the fuck
And he'd
system
say,
of government
he'd say,
Canada
new?
has?
What the fuck? Get the fuck out of my DMs, dude. I've been had that.
It's true. He probably would have that. Hey, speaking of System of a Down, or new, that's the word, new. System of a Down has 2 new songs out. First in 15 years.
Wow.
Sewed.
Although I never listened to System of a Down and I haven't heard the new songs, but someone might find that interesting, I guess.
Maybe they're good. I don't know. I like System of a Down when they were together. Liked them a lot. Everybody did. Everybody knew their songs.
There was somebody that just came out with some new songs, and I can't think of who the fuck they were, so I must not have...
Jimbo Buchanan.
No, System of a Down, you dummy. I just told you. And you're like, oh, somebody came out with some new songs. Yeah, System of a Down did.
No, and I don't appreciate you calling me dummy.
I know. You know why? Because I've never done that before in my life. That's the first...
How did it feel? Was it a relief for you?
You feel like a big man.
It's extremely satisfying, I have to say. All those years I've called you a genius. And look at you. You've grown up to be very, very smart.
Nice backtrack. I like it.
It's true, though. Point is, System of a Down has new music out.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just in.
So there is one other piece of news that I have this week, which is that the federal government seized almost $1 billion worth of Bitcoin this week tied to Silk Road, which was shut down by the feds in 2013. And when they did, at the time, around 63,000 and change Bitcoins got moved out of the Silk Road wallet into this anonymous wallet. And it's been sitting there for the last 7 years. Well, now the feds have got a hold of it. So they've got a hold of what, at the time that it was seized a few days ago, was worth almost $1 billion in Bitcoin. What are they going to do with it?
How do you cash that in?
I think you just take it to one of the ATMs that now accepts Bitcoin, and then you just cash
and it spits it out in singles.
No more than 500 at a time.
It's going to take a while because you can only get $500 at a pop from one of those. So you're going to want to have some of your buddies.
That's America's next stimulus check is you line up around the corner for the Bitcoin ATM to get your $500 in singles.
It was the only way that the federal government could do anything with it. So, yeah, that's going to be the new stimulus is this $1 billion that they moved out of Bitcoin. What I took away from that, though, is how much money must have been changing hands on Silk Road for there to be $1 billion fucking dollars just lying around.
What was Silk Road?
Silk Road was a dark web website that really was a marketplace. It was like an eBay for drugs, murder for hire, prostitution, and other...
Anything.
Yeah, anything went.
How did they seize this?
How'd they find the anonymous wallet?
I don't know, is the answer to that question. I actually don't know. But
Do I look like I'm part of the FBI team that cracked this case?
Exactly. But I think they had the wallet the whole time, but it took them 7 years to crack the hash code.
That belonged to someone and they lost it? Where did this money come from?
This money came from profits that were being held by Silk Road. And Silk Road was run by basically one guy, a guy named Ross Ulbricht, and his employees.
So it was like third party.
He was the Black Death merchant.
Yeah, he went by the Dread Pirate Roberts. That's what his handle was.
So he moved the money out of the Silk Road's account into this secondary wallet to try and save it from the feds, but the feds seized that wallet as well, is what I am gathering.
How?
Magic.
What do you mean how? Through computer fuckery.
Yeah, how do you have that money?
Digital wallet.
Yeah, you got a digital.
Wait.
How
Is
can
it
they take
in the computer?
If it's all just numbers in a computer, can't you just make it so again? Can't you just
re-access it?
Yeah, like
can't one of his staff members?
How can they lock
take
you
the
out of
company
your
laptop?
virtual wallet?
Oh, real easy. If you happen to crack the encryption on it, you just change the encryption. No big deal.
Key. Yeah.
And then I guess if you try to get back into it, then they...
If you try and get back into it, guess what? You don't have the correct encryption anymore. You don't have the right hash.
Well, but in the past 7 years, nobody tried to get into it.
Maybe the feds left it out in order to try and attract any other honeypots, but I don't think so. They busted everybody associated with Silk Road. Everybody.
So there was just nobody left free.
So
to,
the guy who made it's in prison.
Yeah, in fact, he's in the federal supermax out in Florence, Colorado. He's under the fucking prison.
Yeah,
Think
real
about this.
dangerous guy. Needs to be put in very high security.
Well, he did facilitate some murders for hire. He did not have
a good guy.
He did not have clean hands. Let's just put it
I
that
guess
way.
you're right. Damn, he lost $1 billion.
He lost $1 billion. And
probably lost way more than that.
Undoubtedly.
This is really interesting. Is there any documentaries or anything out on it?
Yes, there are. There's books out on it. The whole Ross Ulbricht story and the Silk Road story is well documented. There's a great deal of information out there available on it, and I recommend finding out all you can about it because it's absolutely fascinating how he built basically an eBay for drugs, murder for hire, and every other illegal and nefarious activity on the dark web. And just because basically of hubris, it all came crashing down, and now he will never, ever see the fucking light of day again. But it was obvious that he was a very smart guy. It's just that he used his power for evil instead of for good. He got on the wrong side of the law. There are plenty of people who are on the right side of the law that are still doing evil. But
I mean, at what point do you stop? At what point have you completed the heist? You did the thing. You got $1 billion. Just stop now.
That is why most people do end up getting caught. An unwillingness.
Watch The Wolf of Wall Street. I think it's all down to Quaaludes.
Well, yeah.
Well, it's just why some people keep gambling because the victory, the adrenaline rush of the victory and feeling like you're somebody, it's addictive.
Feeling like you're a big man, Nick. I know you wouldn't know anything about that, but...
No, I wouldn't. But he kind of was a big man.
In a sense. Had a lot of money until he lost it all and got buried under a federal supermax in Florence, Colorado.
I mean, he was making shit happen all across the world.
He sure was. All
making
kinds
money
of shit.
hand over fist. Like when you have over $1 billion, I just don't. Once you got it, you're like, we did the thing. The scheme worked.
Yeah, but like Elsie said, you assume that you hold on to that humility. But the thrill of the high or whatever, the high of the chase, of the success of the, well, if it worked, it's got to keep working, right?
That's not how I think.
Because the high goes away and then you feel like, oh God, I'm a piece of shit. I want to feel that high again. I got to do it again.
I guess it all depends on why you're doing this. Maybe he wasn't even in it for the money. Maybe he was just doing it to do it.
He was doing it kind of to do it to begin with and also for the money.
Yeah, I'm sure the money didn't hurt.
He actually, and I believe he started out selling magic mushrooms. It was just strictly a psychedelic marketplace. But it morphed from there. He became, a real libertarian whose view was that anything should be able to go. The government should not be involved in any way, shape, or form. And of course, that ended up coming back to bite him in a serious way because the government says what's legal and illegal.
They didn't appreciate that.
Yeah, they didn't.
Well, all they cared about was that he was making so much money and they weren't. There was no morals or ethics or any wrong or right. I promise you. They only wanted to imprison him because he was making money and they weren't. That's a crime for you to make money and the government not to make money.
I'm sure that there were agents on that FBI team that were also horrified and appalled at the transactions that he facilitated.
Yeah, but they weren't the ones making the orders. They were getting the orders. And the orders were handed down because he's making money and we want a piece or we want it stopped.
So are you saying the head of every organization is corrupt? That's the question I feel like I need to understand.
I mean, maybe not every organization. Maybe not the head, and maybe not even the head. Maybe the head thinks he's doing the right thing, and it's his number two. Who knows who exactly it is? I think if we knew the exact answer, a lot of these problems wouldn't be a thing.
What's that guy's name on X-Files? Deep Throat?
What?
It's all Deep Throat.
What? There's a guy named Deep Throat on the X-Files?
No, there was a guy named Deep Throat who turned out to be the deputy director of the FBI who fed information to Woodward and Bernstein that brought down President Nixon. But no, the guy on the X-Files wasn't he the smoking man, the cigarette man, the smoking man?
Yeah, but I think they also called
his
him
name
Deep
was
Throat.
Deep Throat? Are you serious?
Yeah, originally, in terms of the deputy FBI director who turned out to be Deep Throat. Yeah, that was the name of the source, the code name Deep Throat.
Well, that's funny.
Because he had a lot to say.
And he also liked to suck dick.
Look, this
Real
was
good
a
at it.
huge, and he was good at it, too.
Oh, my God, yes. Nobody sucked dick like Deep Throat. Everyone
Nobody
knew that.
sucked dicks like old Deep Throat.
Yeah, and he brought down President Nixon in addition to giving great head.
Tricky
Yeah.
dick, deep dick, so many dicks.
Right. So much head back in the 70s anyway. But not
After
anymore.
he sucked Nixon to completion, he also removed him from the White House.
Yes,
in one
indeed.
fell swoop.
He is just the smoking man, but he is the villain who. So Dana Scully and Fox Mulder are two FBI agents who are just trying to do their jobs, doing the right thing. And the smoking man thwarts them at every turn. Every time they try to say, "Oh my God, aliens, you guys, aliens!" The smoking man's like, "No aliens."
And then,
It will
but
cause a panic.
It turns out he's actually the deputy director of the FBI, and he's like filtering all the things so that the actual director of the FBI doesn't see it.
Yeah.
Why? Is he an alien himself?
Something like that. I don't remember. Look, the X-Files is good on an individual episodic basis, but
Overarching story is a
Scully
little bit...
gets like pregnant by God or something, or possibly her partner. Hard to say. And also, the smoking man was Mulder's dad, I think.
I feel like, if the options are between a corporeal man and God,
it was never made clear.
I think the likelihood is that it was the
barren.
corporeal man.
She was barren, was the point. The aliens made her barren and also took her eggs and maybe impregnated her with her partner's.
Wait, it's always aliens in X-Files? It's not like ghosts and shit?
No, it's
there were some inbreeding ones. That was disturbing.
Yeah, I mean, it's either fucked up people
Everyone loves an inbred
or
family.
I think there was even some Bigfoot, but mostly aliens.
My point just was that the government wanted a piece of pie, and that's why they shut it down. That's all.
All right.
That's all it was.
Anyway, the point is that look into that story. It's the actual details of the organization and all that are probably more interesting than.
Yeah.
I just don't get why it's so hard to believe that at this
It's not
stage
hard-
in the American political landscape, that all the players don't really care about you. They care about being the guy or the girl, the political powerhouse, the one who makes shit happen. And they will pander to whoever. I just don't think they care about us at all.
I think that that's fair, but I also think that that might be a little bit separate from Silk Road. And I agree with Sarah. There's a lot to be read on this subject, and I would love to read the book. I need to read the book that was written by Nick Hilton on this subject. He actually interviewed Ross Ulbricht, if I'm not very much mistaken, interviewed the agents who did the prosecution, who did the investigation, rather, and then followed the trial. Because there was, of course, a public trial of this guy as well. So there's a lot of information out there that would actually give you greater insight into what it was that brought this guy down, which is, I think, fascinating. Because he probably could have gotten away with it if he'd have been a little more discreet, if he hadn't been caught up in his own hype. Which
If
is,
it weren't for the meddling kids.
and that's the real problem that we face. And we've got to look at ourselves real hard in the mirror, kids, Elsie, and just think real hard about, as this explodes, are we going to be able to continue to be the same wholesome, down-to-earth, God and devil hearing people that we are today? Or will we become sex and drug and money-fueled monsters?
I'm cool with that. That sounds fine. Yeah.
No, the first one, because this is it. This is, we have peaked.
Oh, I see.
We peaked 2 weeks ago at our highest number of downloads.
Oh,
okay.
I see. All right.
That's so my answer to that is we'll cross that bridge when we never come to it.
That's fair enough. It really is. Okay, well, you kids got anything going on this week, I guess?
I'm going camping.
Oh, yeah. You
Where?
Well, I don't really know where.
Well, bundle up. Because here in these parts, it's going to be wet and rainy.
Gross.
Okay.
Like snow on Wednesday.
Yuck.
Well, I may come home early.
All right. This may not be a long camping trip. Well, I hope you
It's
enjoy
really
it.
mostly for the fishing.
Right on.
But the best fishing is done in the wee hours of the night, you know?
Agreed.
And also in the wee hours of the morning.
Aren't they the same at that point?
Yes, they bleed together a little bit.
Can I ask you a question, both
What?
of you? Did any of the times that I took you fishing as children help you become fisher people? Now that
I don't
you're-
really fish, so.
Fish people.
I mean, yeah, kind of. I knew how to
Sure.
cast.
Sure. Will that make you feel good if I say yes?
It'll make
Yes.
me feel like a big man.
Big man ready for a
Big
for a
man
good
who-
old wrestling match down
Yep.
at the bathhouse. The
Like a
Turkish
like.
bathhouse.
Mm.
I do have some fond memories of you taking us fishing. But I do remember one time I dropped my pole into Steinhardt Lake and you were not happy about that.
I don't recall that.
Sarah does. She remembers the fit of rage you flew
It
into.
wasn't a fit of rage. It was just you were like, well, we're done fucking fishing. And I was like,
You
oh.
stupid
okay.
fucking bitch, and then he slapped you into the into the lake.
Yeah, into the algae part, like
Get it out
the
of there.
deepest algae parts that you can't even like when you come up for air, you're struggling because you're covered in moss and slime, and you're like,
He's like, if you don't come back with that pole, don't come back at all. And before you could even say anything, he was peeling off. He
Yep.
was gone.
And then you walked home covered in algae with a broken pole over your shoulder. I remember that. That was fun.
In the snow.
Yeah.
That was really heartwarming.
Uphill both ways.
I'm glad you have such fond memories.
Barefoot.
I think we were fishing with corn because we didn't want to go get worms or some shit.
Corn works. No, corn's good. For bluegill, anyway.
Well, it's
and you know what works for
what's
trout?
What?
Mini marshmallows. They love those fucking things.
We put a gummy worm on the end of a hook and threw it into the Missouri River thinking, something would bite it. No.
Well, that doesn't really mean. Sometimes you just don't get any bites.
I thought it would be like a lure.
Well, a lure works because you move it. Lures are what you use when you cast it out and start reeling it in slowly.
Let me be very clear. I was not fishing. I haven't fished in years, but
most
I was
lures,
party to.
If not all, I'm going to say most lures, you move them.
Anyway, have fun fishing. Are you guys doing anything?
Yeah, man, we're doing all kinds of things this week. It's a whole panoply of different activities, each one more fantastic and exciting than the rest. There's going to be sequins and gitters. God damn it, I meant sequins and glitter. And I said sequins and gitter. I don't even know what sequins and gitter are.
Sequins and gitter is when a woman on the street, you got a bag of sequences in one hand and some wood glue in the other, and you fucking just slap her with the wood glue, throw the sequins all over, and then get her.
Well, I didn't know I was going to be doing that kind of sequins and gitter, but I guess I have to now.
The sequined bandit strikes again.
Well, I'll look forward to that.
Jesus.
Elsie, you got anything this week?
I hope I'm just not the her who gets gotten with the sequins.
And the gitter.
An insight into their sex life that nobody wanted.
Sequins and gitter. All right. Well, a lot to look forward to this week, that's for sure. In the meantime, it's good to talk to you, kids. Love you.
Love you. Good to talk to you.
Love you. Bye.
Love you.
A Shin Show is a production of Shinfluence. It features the voices and opinions of the Shin family, which are entirely and exclusively their own. Join us each week on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks as always to our regular listeners. We love to hear from you, so if you have a question, comment, recommendation, or idea you would like to submit to A Shin Show, please email us at ashinshow@gmail.com, and we will be happy to ignore it, belittle you publicly, or steal your ideas if you actually have a good one.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.